welcome to Trash Talkin', Prime Trash Talkin' Week.
I'm Reg.
I mean, we're Prime Trash Talkin' now. We're at the football season. You're in the playoffs.
In the words of Jim Mora, playoffs.
no one thought this was coming for you, so I'm happy for you. No one thought this was coming for me, so it's a big week.
What a different feeling. You know, we were spoiled for years with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
We're always in the playoffs, and you get a different feeling for a playoff game. Then you go 9 years, dud.
That one.
It's so hard to get there that you got to relish every time you get there.
Feels good. I'm happy for you, kinda. I feel like also it should be me, but it's not me. It's you. So I'm happy for you. Happy for everyone who's in the playoffs week. It's going to be a very fun week in football. Saturday night, college football tonight, tomorrow, playoff football Saturday, Sunday. Good for sports. I'm just watching my Sabres at this point, and they're like 7.
Who's watching the Sabres?
We play Senators tonight, and that's a big game. We're only 6-0. So recap of the week. Not much to really recap. For you, it was a good game, but for everyone else watching, that sucked. Because we were watching Carson Wentz throw to the ground. But it was good for you. It was fun to watch for you.
Again, like your dad was saying, you don't know anybody.
No.
I think the Chiefs know how to go into the playoffs and win. Oh, yeah. They had nothing to prove there.
Yeah.
You know, for the teams that Cincinnati, losing to New England, that screwed me out of the survivor pick in week 2.
Yeah.
And you lose to New England at home. Denver lost at home to New England last year when they had a shot at the playoffs. You can't blame anybody but yourself. You
guys actually got lucky. You got to thank the Bills, because the Bills didn't beat the Chiefs early in the season. The Chiefs probably would have played all their starters. They would have 17-0.
Yes.
I was saying about that during the game. Like, you guys kind of got lucky. They lost that one game because they would have gone for 17-0.
But everybody forgets we lost by a single point.
Yeah, to them, Bo looked good, albeit against backups, but he looked good. Like, he was throwing the ball well.
It was so fun to watch the NFC South. They were playing at the same time, and Tampa Bay was winning, and Atlanta was losing. It was right side by side, back and forth. Like that is just.
I thought Tampa was going to blow it to the Saints.
I did too. I could not believe that they could have lost.
Saints and all. At least the Panthers have looked good.
He's the future. They don't need a quarterback.
He's really good. No, I think he'll be really good.
Quarterback. They have an offense.
I'm glad he's good. For us short people out there, I like it.
I think it's mainly the coach.
Well, yeah,
they have an offensive coach.
Yeah, you have your offensive coach. That's Canales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he
good.
came from offense. He's dealt with other quarterbacks. So
yeah, he's good.
I think there's going to be upsets this weekend.
I hope so. It always makes it fun.
Big upsets, but I think there's going to be upsets.
That always makes it fun. We got young guys in the playoffs. We got Nix and Daniels, 2 young rookies. And
rookie quarterbacks.
That's fun to see. Not always do we get those young, exciting quarterbacks in. Obviously, Nix has it tough going into Buffalo. That's going to be really tough, but, I think guys can make a game out of it.
I don't think they're afraid. I told you they're playing with house money. There's nothing to be afraid of. They were picked to have 5 wins, last place.
That's true.
A top draft pick. The way they play, if they don't turn the ball over, just keep Josh Allen in the pocket. Let him throw to beat you. Don't let him be a hero and run.
Yeah.
Let him throw, because he's going to get some picks if he has to throw all the time without running. So I think if they don't turn the ball over, it should be a good game. I don't see them getting blown out.
And this is why you kind of drafted a quarterback who had 4 years of experience in college. Now he's used to this. He played a lot of playoff football in college, big games with national attention. So I'm rooting for you. I know the Bills manager is circling the wagons right now as we speak. So I'm going to be excited to see what happens. I'm rooting for the Broncos, though, very much so. Do not want to see the Bills win.
I just think for anybody that hasn't watched them, and you're watching them for the first time or a few times, they play as a team. There's no heroes on the team, and they all want to win for everybody else.
You just got to contain Josh. That's really all it is. Contain Josh. There's nothing outside that should really scare you.
They don't need facts. They need pressures.
Yeah, and Bills' defense shouldn't scare you too much either. The offense you guys have looked really good on offense. So
as long as they can run the ball a little bit, they got to have the ball for around 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As long as they can control the clock a little bit and keep Buffalo's offense.
Who threw the longest touchdown pass of the year this year? In the air, 70 yards.
Oh, that was a nice throw.
That was against
in the air, 70 yards.
Looked good. He had a good year.
There's going to be a lot of good games, so I see anywhere. And again, this is a lot of good quarterbacks.
Yeah, the AFC is loaded, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's do our predictions. Getting into our predictions for the playoffs. Who we're going to take.
Yeah.
Well, walk our own.
I don't know why, but I'm gonna go against the grain. I know they haven't played well lately. I don't know, they don't deserve a home game, but I just got a feeling Houston will beat the Chargers. Not a blowout, but they'll beat them.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore will beat Pittsburgh. I don't think they'll blow them out because it's a rivalry, but I think they'll do enough to win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Denver to win as an upset. Obviously, it's not just because of my hat. and my
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
I just think they're on a mission, and with the way they're playing,
Yeah,
they
could
can
be.
do it. I'm gonna go with Green Bay and an upset at Philly if Jordan Love's playing. If he's not playing, they don't have a chance.
Yeah, I think we'll play.
I don't know why. I just can see Philly choking.
Hope
I
you're
think
right.
Green Bay with Josh Jacobs. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay at home to Washington, but I think that'll be a good game. And I'm gonna take the Rams in an upset at home to the Vikes. They played each other earlier this year. Two good teams.
Yeah,
Something about Sean McVay and
yeah,
Stafford. They know how to win when they get there. So
yeah.
those are mine.
That quarterback. All right. Well, I can't remember things, so I have it on my phone. I have Bills beating the Broncos.
Yeah, everybody else.
I hope I'm wrong, but I do have Bills beating the Broncos. I have Ravens beating the Steelers because unlike the people who have just looked at the end of the game result and they think Russell Wilson looked good all year, there was not really a moment where Russell Wilson looked really good. Like he was like playing like all right, which is better than he had played last 2 years. But if you actually watched Russ, you knew like he's not Russ. I'm actually gonna go Chargers over Texans, and I've been a big Herbert hater my whole life. Not my whole life, his whole career. And not because I don't like Herbert, but I just feel like he's got like every excuse known to man. And it's like, oh, he's really talented and he can make all these big throws, but he never wins big games. Like we were in New Jersey and I was watching on my phone the Jaguars Chargers game, and I had it on. I had it on, and it was like what 24-0, 27-0 at half, and I just had it on just for fun after. And I'm sitting there like jaw dropped, and people around me after. Isabella asked me why I was looking at my, because they had somehow come back.
A lot of that was coaching. Too.
It was coaching,
They had
but
to get rid of the coach.
but how I don't know how we haven't talked about that game more than we have. Like
Right.
we talk about like
I forgot about
Dak getting blown out to the Packers
That was
more
one of
than
the
we
biggest
ever
jokes
talk
ever.
about
was one of
that
the biggest
game.
jokes. And again, coaching Chargers
For
never
sure.
had one. Harbaugh would never do that. Okay.
For sure,
No.
but
Harbaugh won't do
with any other quarterback, I felt like we would talk about that every time we mentioned him. 27-0 half. I like Herbert, but I also feel like Herbert's like the definition of an Instagram quarterback, where like he makes these amazing throws. And then I remember watching Herbert against us last year, the game that kind of got Dak's MVP campaign started. Dak didn't even play that good, and Herbert was overthrowing wide open players. He's an Instagram quarterback to me. He's very talented. I root for him. I'm gonna go against everything I say because I think Herbert is talented and he needs to have that.
They need
Good
to get
quarterback
weapons.
moment.
They need.
But
a
he
lot
did
of
for a while there.
For a while
He
he
had,
had them.
and
I know.
you know, like now
he's just
it's the
coming up,
opposite. He
yeah.
has two great tackles and
McCarthy.
horrible weapons. You know, I mean, J.K. Dobbins was good, but he's hurt now. I think he's playing this week. But yeah, his receiving core is really bad. Quinn Johnson was supposed to be the guy. He can't catch. But I think that great quarterbacks, because he is a great quarterback, they all need their game where they show it. I think that'll be at Houston this week. I don't think Houston's special. Their defense is good. I love Stroud. I would love to be wrong about this. I don't think I am. Eagles, Packers, I hope I'm wrong about this one. I'm picking the Eagles. Again, Jordan Love might not play. I think he will. The receiving core, I know everyone loves the Packers receiving core, but it's very inconsistent to me. There's no, like, number one. They lost Washington, which sucked, but even then they still have it pretty good. They have Wicks, Dobbs, and Reed.
Two good tight ends.
Two good tight ends. But there's no star. It's like what the Sabres been doing for 2-3 years. That's a great team, but where's your star? I need a star receiver.
They're well coached too.
Well coached. LaFleur's
If
great.
it comes down to coaching, he'll
Yeah,
coach
well, yeah,
Sirianni.
Sirianni.
He'll
Green
coach
Bay,
Sirianni.
Because
They makes the playoffs.
the receiving core.
Okay, all right.
And then Commanders Bucks, I think, is a really good game.
It's really-
It's gonna be
an
fun.
Offensive show.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm taking the Commanders. I hope Baker. It could be a game where Baker like throws. Yeah, it could be a game where like Baker throws like 450 and wills his team to a win.
Well,
Both defenses are
Tampa
bad.
Bay, Tampa Bay's defense
Really
has
bad.
to step up. They're not that good, but Levante David and them.
The thing about that game though is it could be like 42-35 at the end of it.
Oh,
it could just be
whoever
whoever
has the
gets the
ball
last.
last,
Yeah,
I think.
whoever gets the ball last. So that'll be just fun to watch.
I want it for Baker because
Me too. He
I
deserves
want
it.
him to show Cleveland what they have.
Oh yeah, he deserves it, and he's had good playoff stats too. Like
He's had a great year. I mean, man.
I didn't realize how good of a year he had. 41 touchdowns, 16 picks. No one's really talking about
And
that.
it's about time the NFL put a warm weather game on at night.
So we
Put
can
the
have-
cold weather games
Yeah.
out during the day. Finally.
It was a
holy
good game.
mackerel.
And then Vikings, Rams. I'm not out on the Vikings at all. I know they looked horrible, but I'm taking the Vikings to beat the Rams because obviously, as we'll go
Two
on,
dome teams.
I have
think
the
it's gonna
Vikings.
be a
Like,
good
he
Yeah.
could have won that game with Darnold.
Yeah.
Had a couple passes.
he looked really bad, and that might just be who he is. But I'm not really out on the Vikings yet. I have them going to the Super Bowl.
Two of the
So-
three losses are the Lions.
That's the thing. Like the Lions are very good, and
That's
it's
pretty
hard to
good.
beat a team 3 times. So them going, like, if they meet the Lions again, where everyone's talking about,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like too scared if I were. And Darnold got that game out. Maybe that was
so
nerves.
it's
Maybe
out
he
of the
needed to
system.
feel it. People forget Darnold's not that good. Like, he's had a really good year, but Darnold was a bust for 6 years.
I just hope Dan Campbell learned his lesson last year and
I don't know.
coaches differently in
I don't know.
playoffs than he does in the
Right.
regular
One
season.
thing I will
hope
give-
he learned.
The one thing I'll give Dan Campbell is Dan Campbell single-handedly won that game because Kevin O'Connell was trying to play Dan Campbell's game. It was like it was intimidation.
Yeah,
He was trying to go for it every fourth down.
Yeah.
Because-
No, I don't know.
That's what
I don't know why he was
It's
doing
because
that
it's
either.
because the guy on the other side
He was in his
has
head.
balls.
He was in his head.
He knows the guy on the other side is not scared at all.
Yeah, that was.
One thing I'll give Dan Campbell, even if sometimes he makes really dumb decisions, he's not scared. Every time he makes a decision, there's no like 5%. Maybe I shouldn't have. He's 100% wants to go for it. He believes in his guys. His guys love him. He is a perfect coach for Detroit. He is like Detroit through
he's
and through.
Detroit through and through.
And my buddy is a Lions fan. He's always in Windsor for games. Apparently, the city just like arms around him. They love him so much. So he's perfect there. And
I
that's what
heard
I'll give
even
him.
the muggers stopped mugging him.
They don't pickpocket on Sundays. There's no pickpocket. No, I heard that. Sundays, Detroit is very
Unbelievable.
calm. Well, Detroit's got a good city right now. Everything's going well.
You know what? Last year I said if they had home field, now they have it.
Yeah, that's huge for them.
That's
And they get
huge
the
for
week
them.
off because they didn't rest any starters
Exactly.
last week
Yeah.
the week before last week.
And I'm honestly, I'd love to see Aiden Hutchinson be able to play in a game.
Yeah,
would
I
be
don't know if he will.
That would be unbelievable if he could.
I know I see the rumors, but like, yeah.
That would
I
be
don't know.
unbelievable if he could.
The only thing is, we'll talk about this a little later. Just on QBs you trust in the playoffs, like, and I guess this gives away a little bit of my answer. I just don't trust Goff. Like his playoff run when he went to the Super Bowl, he threw 2 touchdowns
He's
total.
indoors. That's the problem.
That's the thing. Like
He
again,
lives indoors.
you're playing against good defenses now. He played pretty good against the Vikings besides the 2 picks and the complete, uncle outside of the Thanksgiving dinner throwing the ball as far as he can for that pick. That
You
was
remember last year they just barely beat the Rams at home, and there was a penalty that didn't get called,
Almost
and they
beat the
beat them
Niners,
by 2. The Buccaneers beat them this year,
Yeah.
or last year,
Yeah.
in Detroit. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a coast for them,
no,
but I just
nothing will
hope
be.
Dan Campbell learned his lesson.
I think he will. I do have a feeling, it's kind of feels like a Detroit type of year, but I did pick the Vikings, but I could see Jared Goff having to play real defenses now, having to play real pressure games, kind of, throwing up
It's
one
hard
of
to
those
score
pumpkins.
40 points in the playoffs
That's the thing.
compared to the regular season.
Defense, I know the defense looked good against the Vikings, but that's also Sam Darnold throwing 20 yards
Yeah,
over Jefferson's
he
head.
counts.
And, yeah, that was Darnold. All right, this is the fun one. We always have fun with Josh Allen and Lamar. Who has more to gain, more to prove in these playoffs?
Oh, they both have the most pressure on them.
Yeah.
Put it this way: if Kansas City gets to the Super Bowl again and both of them aren't in there,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear conversations about these guys.
I already don't want to
anymore.
hear it.
Listen, again, Lamar Jackson had a better year this year than he had last year. Last year they give him the MVP. This year, well, he's not going to get the MVP. Last year, Josh Allen had a better year than he had this year. He didn't get the MVP last year, but now it's his turn, so he's going to get
annoying.
it.
It's also
it
named
just
the
doesn't.
MVP today.
But yeah, that's the problem. Like these guys have to win in January and February.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know nobody ever talks about Mahomes this regular season, and he was hurt and he played on a bad team. But
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you, he won't have a bad game in the
No,
playoffs.
that's who he is.
Oh, he's
And the thing really with Lamar is they went and got him Derrick Henry. There's no excuse
No
for them
excuse.
not to win.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for them
Those
not
day
to be
Flowers
in the
this
Super
week.
Bowl. See?
Those day Flowers this week.
Yeah, but
He's out.
against Pittsburgh, I don't think
Yeah, I
that
don't think
bothers
they
you.
need him.
But to me, if they got to play each other in round 2, the winner of that has to beat Kansas City.
Yeah,
They have
this
to.
year.
Otherwise, it's a loss for both guys, and I don't want to hear Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that, Lamar Jackson this. And even one guy was saying on one of the shows this week, look at Lamar Jackson's record in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. It's
You
really
can
bad.
do all you want in the regular season, and you win those games in September. But I think they both have pressure on them, and I think their rear end will get tight the closer the game is. And if they happen to make a mistake, I think they're gonna try playing hero ball.
Yeah. Well,
If it's a close game and they
Allen
think
will,
they
for
got to do
sure.
it, for sure, Allen will. I think Lamar might too, and that's what I think could hold them back.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of the same narrative every year for these guys now. Like until they win. Again, I don't think they'll win, and I think that's a fun narrative. I think that's the best outcome for like sports media if Mahomes wins again and we get to go into next year doing the whole Lamar Allen thing, because
It wouldn't bother me at all because
no, he deserves it. He's that
he
good.
is that good, and if he can
be the
prove
GOAT.
that he can do it, and you know what, Nick Wright said the same thing. He's right. Like, all you people all year long are going, I don't know if he can do it. I don't know if they're the same thing. I don't know. They're 15-1.
15-2, yeah.
15-1. You can't. How do you not a team 15-1? You can't say, oh, bad division. Not a bad division
We
anymore.
just shot him out.
15-2, but yeah,
Or 15-2. Sorry, 15-2.
We did.
he's 15.
You rolled the JV squad.
To me, if he wins this, he's on his way to being the GOAT.
Yeah, he'll be.
If they win this year,
He's more
on his
talented
way
than
to
Brady.
He's got a lot more athletic ability than Brady.
Yeah.
If he wins it this year, with the offensive problems they have a good defense.
They had a horrible offense last year too.
Yeah,
and
but,
that
I
he
mean,
carried that.
Last year they had no business winning.
No.
And even still, I don't think they're as talented
They're
as
not.
Baltimore. Player for player, I think
They're
Baltimore's
not.
got the most.
One
talent.
player only matters to
Yeah.
me. It's you
So
have
he's
that
the GOAT.
guy.
He's the
And you
GOAT.
have Andy Reid.
Yeah, but
Let's give
you
Andy
know,
credit.
Andy Reid had Alex Smith and Donovan McNabb too, and he didn't get anything like this out of him.
Well, Andy
You know?
Reid's got to watch because he's got to watch what time the games are. 'Cause he can't miss a meal.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Andy.
Andy can't
That's a
miss meal.
superpower.
He
That's a
can't miss a
superpower.
meal.
That's his superpower. Is
But
the birds.
no, those two guys together are better than any.
That's the
Yeah.
best head coach quarterback duo, just because of what they give to each other. Like I know Belichick was a defensive coach, and I know they were good together with Brady, but what they give each other is great. No, like again, like don't circle the wagons. Don't do like Mahomes is going to the Super Bowl again. Like I don't know how many times you got to watch the movie before you realize at the end what happens. You know, it's like watching The Breakfast Club, and you think they all hate each other at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these guys all hate each other. They're going to continue to hate each other. No one's going to become friends. They're all too different. And at the end, they all become friends. That's you know what's going to happen. You watched it with Brady for 20 years, and now you're watching it again. You're watching Brady Part 2.
But everybody hypes these guys up so much. That's the problem. The media hypes
Oh, yeah.
Lamar and Josh up, and then they put them up here, and then boom.
And I swear, coming into this year, every talk show I watched was like, well, Lamar has to start 20 steps back because of how bad he was in the playoffs again. So in the MVP race, we're going to start Lamar right here. And now we're doing the whole, Lamar is the best quarterback in football. But we do it every year. We see them all collapse. And I know Allen hasn't collapsed. He's been pretty good in the playoffs considering he's lost like every year to Mahomes. But I don't really care. Like he never wins when it matters. You can say that, you know, the 13 seconds game and, you know, he did all he could. Imagine he had the ball last, but he didn't have the ball last. The guy who made the next play,
Even
the
last
most important
year,
play, was
last year
Mahomes.
he could have held the ball to
Oh,
the
yeah.
end, and he didn't. He threw the ball in the end zone. And
So, and by the way, skipped the ball to his receiver in the end zone. That receiver was open if he throws that. So I'm tired of forgetting like these guys' flaws because they're so much fun to watch in Week 8. I don't really care that the Ravens destroyed the
You talk about this
Bills.
with your therapist?
Well, it pisses me off. I don't know why. It pisses me off so much
But it's
because it doesn't go for the other quarterbacks. Like I every time Dak has a good game, I got to hear Week 14, and it's like. I looked at it. I wish I screenshotted it so I could pull it up right now. I looked at a list and it's advanced stats. It's like EPA. It's like estimated what you're projected to get, the points you're projected to get versus the points you actually get. What the quarterback's responsible for. Dak was at like 7 out of all the quarterbacks, and Lamar was at like 15. Like he was at the bottom of this list of the quarterbacks they were ranking. So I just don't get where Lamar gets off every time. Like he gets. Last year, he lost the game because he threw too much. So let's forget everything we know about the quarterback in question. It's not Lamar Jackson. If I told you a team lost the game because the quarterback threw the ball too much,
Did you see his stats?
what would you say?
Did you see his stats? Over 40?
Great this
Was he
year.
40 and
In the playoffs, he threw the ball too much, and they lost. That's why people are saying lost. The quarterback who won the most valuable player award lost in the game because he threw the football too much. That makes no sense. So how do we walk out of that game and go, yeah, but
It's put
Lamar.
up or shut up for both these guys.
Yeah.
And if they play each other, there's going to be pressure on each other
Yeah.
in round 2. If it's Buffalo at home to Baltimore,
That'll be like
they're
a
going
cinematic experience.
I'm just saying, if they,
That would be a cinematic experience to watch those two. I think it's more on Lamar because Lamar has had 2 of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time. 2019, I know this year is statistically better, but 2019, it felt like no one was going to stop him.
He also has a way better supporting cast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he added a good running back. But in 2019, it looked like no one was going to stop him. And then, surprise, the Tennessee Titans, of all people, stopped him at home. He looked horrible, which is fine. That was his second year in the league, first year he brought us team in the playoffs, and now here we are at his best passing performance ever through 17. You have to do it now because Allen, we know he can do both, but Lamar has shown the inability to do both.
Yeah, and Baltimore's in that stage exactly like Buffalo. They're great enough to win 12 games a year, win the division, and that's it. And somebody said something about, and I think, honestly, if the Steelers lose this weekend, they would be wise to part with Mike Tomlin.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
They would.
It's time.
He's been there too long.
He's still good, but
and they just want to be average.
That's right.
Pittsburgh wants to be average. They have to change their offensive philosophy.
Yeah.
You know what? It's good to win 9. You know, going 9-8 every year, 10-7. But
I don't even think the issue is Tomlin though. I think it's ownership because ownership just gets the same offensive coordinator after offensive
look
coordinator.
what Tomlin's done with every receiver he's had.
Oh, I know.
Tony O'Brien, Martavius Bryant,
Yeah.
Tony Brown,
Yeah.
Smith Schuster.
Sure.
Now
Yeah.
this clown Pickens, same
Pickens,
thing.
yeah.
He always has problems with receivers.
But I think that's
they
like
never changed to the way the game is going.
I agree. He's too old school.
Yeah.
But I think the offensive coordinators are the biggest. I think if Tomlin had a quarterback, we would probably look at it a little different. Like when he had Ben, I know they only won 2, which is only
They drafted
nice.
Pickett, and then they went and
Yeah.
picked up Fields and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
How
That,
stupid were they?
that wasn't smart. But
Didn't
I'll
make
take Tomlin.
sense.
But I do think Arthur Smith
I
and
think
Matt
it's
Canada back to back is
Yeah,
your
no,
offensive
that's
partner.
terrible. Arthur Smith's terrible offensive. But I think they need a different way.
That might be
And I'm
fine.
not saying he's a bad
No,
coach
he's
'cause
definitely
he
good.
never had a bad season.
I'll take it.
But,
I hope he doesn't get fired.
you know, do you really want to be 50-50 every year?
I think the Rooneys are into that. I think the ownership is into that. They seem to be only
Gets you
okay with
nowhere.
it. Yeah, I don't think
You know what it
It
does?
ruins you in the draft.
But from an ownership
they
perspective,
have a playoff game again.
you're always getting a playoff game, and you're
They'll sell out any
but
game.
your
Yeah.
fans are
Pittsburgh
hanging on because you're always there.
I think now
No.
they're starting to get frustrated.
Yeah, I think they are too.
I think they're at the point now
I've heard
where
it.
we're going to play one playoff game and we're up.
Yeah, they haven't won a playoff game. I think someone said 8 years.
8 years.
It's been 8 years, something like
Yeah,
that. Like
so, I mean-
they've made the playoffs multiple times.
Is it really that great
They
to
ain't
make
winning
it
this
never
year.
play?
I
Yeah.
think they're gonna get bottom.
and I do think he's gotten really unlucky. Like the player, and I want to say hate, but I'll say I dislike the most in the NFL is George Pickens. I don't root
He
for
dropped
him.
how many balls and he played?
He is
last
such an idiot.
He is.
I have never watched a player with so much like. I get so angry.
Brown the same way.
But at least Antonio Brown was so good and so okay for so long. Like he obviously went nuts. But Antonio Brown for the first bit of his career, Juju Smith-Schuster just did TikToks and he was annoying. But Pickens tries to fight fans, tries to fight his own players. I hate Pickens. I hate watching. That's why I hate the Steelers even more now. I hate watching. He's so good. That's the issue. He's
They can
so good.
draft defensive players very well, but
TJ.
offensive players they can't.
Yeah,
Literally, they
it
can't.
doesn't seem
Pickett
to
wasn't
work.
going to be good either.
Yeah, no, I mean
Pickett was not be good.
that was he goes
He's
to
from the
Pitt
area.
and he's in the same
Yeah.
room every day. Like that
Exactly.
wasn't.
So
That was he was supposed to go third round anyways. But I'm gonna go with Lamar because Lamar keeps having these good seasons. And one thing, we talk about Mahomes being the most beatable team this year. This is the most beatable team he's had. Well, the Bills lost Diggs. Their defense is older. They're older. Lamar, they don't have a good defense anymore. Derrick Henry only has so many
They've
good years
gotten
left in
better.
him.
Their defense is
Yeah,
getting
their
better.
last 7 weeks have been good, but like this is just as big for Josh and Lamar to win because you don't have. I checked ages the other day for the first time. 28, 29, like those guys are getting old now. They're not in the moment where it's like, oh, they'll have more games.
And
Like, it's
they've
time.
never been seriously hurt either.
Yeah,
which
that's the
a
thing.
time comes in a quarterback.
Josh,
A time comes where you're going to miss.
Stop it. Now I gotta knock on wood.
knock on wood, but Josh Allen plays like Cam.
It happens.
He plays like Cam Newton, and Cam Newton at like 31, it was like
Yeah.
done. His shoulder is old. Like
Exactly.
so, we'll see. But it is just as big for them as it is for Mahomes.
Yeah.
And now a good segue. Let's talk about the quarterbacks we trust and the quarterbacks we don't trust. We're not going to count Bo or Jaden Daniels. We have no reason to trust or not trust them. We haven't seen them in the playoffs yet.
Again, those two guys shouldn't be judged on a playoff.
No, no.
And you know what? Again, Bo Nix had 8 interceptions. 4 were in the first 3 games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
First 2 games was at
Really?
Seattle and at home to
I'm
Pittsburgh.
from Seattle game. Yeah.
And then the third game was at the Jets.
Yeah.
In bad weather. So
Yeah.
they shouldn't be judged. Those guys are going to
No.
be great.
Yeah.
I trust Matthew Stafford. I don't know why. Just because of him and McVay together, I trust him. And I'll tell you, the more you watch him, Baker Mayfield, I trust.
Trust
That
him?
guy wants to win. He'll do anything
Yeah.
he has to win. And when they have a healthy Mike Evans,
Yeah.
he has somebody that he can rely on. And they got McMillan now, the rookie.
Yeah, he's playing really
He's
good.
playing very good. I trust him. Again, these are all great quarterbacks.
It's a good.
Look at the AFC. Every year it's going to be Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Herbert. There's 4.
Yeah. Throw in Stroud.
Burrow
if
didn't
he
even make
continues,
it.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the
like,
thing.
come on. How
AFC
hard is
playoffs
it to
fun.
make the playoffs in the AFC?
With those
So
guys,
when you get there
hard.
with those guys, there's really nobody that I would say. Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't trust to win a game.
No.
Personally, I think if they win, it's because of Barkley. It's not because of Jalen Hurts. Yeah. And Goff's lucky because he's playing indoors.
Yeah. I don't trust
Darnold, I wouldn't trust in the playoffs. I mean, again, it's not that he's a bad quarterback, but this is his first time too, right? So, but I mean, there's so many good quarterbacks. It's hard not to. C.J. Stroud, he lost
had
a
a bad
weapon.
year, yeah.
So I mean,
And he didn't have a great year.
yeah, he didn't. He's lost 2 weapons.
Yeah.
He lost Bell and he
Bell.
lost Diggs. So I mean,
Yeah.
who is he throwing to now?
Yeah,
Right? He's got
Nico.
one
I
guy.
know, he's
Or
ready to
Nico.
get Dixon,
You know.
and he's gone.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the guys I wouldn't trust. But the other guys are all experienced. Even Herbert, he can win you.
Yeah, well, obviously he's talented. I don't trust Darnold at all because I was. This is a lot bigger for Darnold than it is for anyone else because the money could go from 50 to like 30 overnight, which is 30. I would say I would take that money. But like for him and his agent who's going to be watching that game, a bad game. I mean, stock went down after last week, his first big game.
He's a starter somewhere next year.
He might, but it's gonna cost a lot of money. And if he plays horrible against the Rams, who I know have played good, and their defense actually played pretty good, but the Lions is one thing. When you go into, Colin Cowherd said, and he doesn't say a lot of, and we don't want to say a lot of things about people at Fox because we have no clue who we're talking about now. But we have been told from the lawsuits that Colin Cowherd is a great person. That's what's written all on those lawsuits. That Colin Cowherd is a great guy, so we can talk about him. Colin Cowherd said, no Skip Bayless for a long time. Colin Cowherd said, and he was right, it's the biggest game in Detroit maybe ever that they had last week.
You can't blame any quarter. That crowd was crazy.
And Sam Darnold has never been good. A year ago, that day, Sam Darnold was playing for the backup Niners because they were sitting their guys. He was the backup to Brock Purdy. So this was the first really big Sam Darnold game. I'm not going to really look too much into it, but if he falls apart this week, pumpkin mode. I'm going pumpkin mode.
I don't think it'll fall apart. But again, he had such a good year. He's worth money next year.
Well, someone's
They've
going to give
thrown
money.
to Daniel Jones and other people like that.
I know, you remember.
He's not going to be a Daniel Jones.
They threw money at Brock Osweiler. They'll throw money at.
That's what I mean, yes. But he's
Darnold.
way better than Daniel Jones would
well,
ever be. So I think Minnesota has a heck of a choice on their hand. They could trade McCarthy and get something for him.
I would let McCarthy start, but Darnold's going to get his money either way.
Yeah.
Like, I would want to stay in Minnesota with those weapons. I don't trust him just because I've seen him. Like, it has to go on this. I've seen 6 years before this 1 year. So if anyone was going to go pumpkin mode,
Yeah, it would
be Darnold.
He'd be the guy.
I never trust Jalen Hurts, which is weird because I love Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. Thought he was going to be the guy. He's 2 years ago looked like he was going to be the guy. He had an amazing season. These last 2 years, if you make him throw the ball, he shows how normal he is. He'll throw like one moon ball a game that'll like fool you. He'll drop it right in the
He
bucket.
has great receivers,
Yes.
tight end, and a good offensive line.
He's a great.
Barkley.
Maybe the best running back in football.
Yeah.
Right now, he definitely is. So, I mean, that team I trust. I don't trust him, and I don't trust Jordan Love. I'm gonna say I don't trust Jordan Love because Jordan Love is very Brett Favre, and I watched it in a New Jersey hotel room last year. I watched in like 5 plays how Jordan Love could go from that was amazing clutch throw to what the hell is he doing when he threw it cross body? Brett Favre like. I'm not saying Jordan Love isn't great. I'm just saying if he had the ball with 2 minutes left, half of my brain would be confident, half would go, he's going to force it into triple coverage and try and make the most of this. I don't really trust.
I think the problem now is these quarterbacks are so good and so
Yeah, they know they think they can do everything.
that when they do it once,
Yeah.
they think they can do it every time. And it's just their mentality. That's how good these guys are. Like,
Well, yeah, they're so talented.
we're in an area now.
Yeah.
Where all these quarterbacks are
They're so
athletic
talented,
and
they think they can do it
unbelievable.
all.
They can throw anywhere.
That's
you
the thing.
see some of these throws
Drop
these guys
their
are
bodies.
putting.
Well, Love is
It's
uber
unbelievable.
athletic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, they're super athletic. You know what? They're gonna make mistakes. It's just
Yeah.
you don't want them to do it in the
The one guy I don't trust because of how much he tries and how
Baker?
is Baker. Don't trust him. I love Baker. Always been a Baker fan. He's good for us little guys, small quarterbacks.
against
I love the
Washington's
quarterback for a
defense,
minute.
it won't scare them.
No, but I just throughout the playoffs, Baker he has such a fire that sometimes he just runs a little hot and he just put so much behind
I
it.
see a Cinderella.
It would be. I would love it. I would be excited. I would
I
love.
would watch that and root for him.
Oh, so would I.
Me too. I think he's great, but I think he's also turnover prone.
Yeah.
16 picks.
It's because
He tries exactly. He tries very hard to make things happen.
Sometimes
He's
these guys-
one of the greatest ever.
Sometimes these guys with not so great defenses,
They try
think
and
they have
press.
to do a little bit
Yeah.
more, and they
Yeah.
have to score more. So there's a little more pressure on Tampa Bay's defense. Didn't play that well, you
No.
know. So
That would be my biggest
sometimes
fear.
there's pressure on that way, but
If he doesn't press, he is a great patient quarterback when he doesn't press. When he presses, you see him throw into double coverage.
now they're running the ball better with Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky's good.
He's really.
I fear about Tampa because I've also seen them play really bad. Like Baker played bad against us. I've seen them have these really off games, and then you see them, beat the Lions, which you didn't think they were going to do. So I don't know. Those are the 4 quarterbacks I don't trust. I really, really don't trust Darnold and Goff
I
But
think the
I think-
NFC is going to be all great games
because
I don't see
there's
a
no
bad, I don't see
there's
a
no
bad
team
there. I don't see a bad team.
especially wildcard weekend.
Seattle won 10 games, didn't make the
Didn't make it.
playoffs.
I know. That's why wildcard weekend is going to be a lot of fun.
And they lost the
You know,
division all because of record.
Yeah, it was a tiebreaker.
That's what it went down.
It's not like they
Just
straight
figure
up
that out,
lost,
yeah.
So 10-7 on the playoffs. It was the NFC. The AFC was top heavy and had a lot of like the elite teams like Buffalo and Baltimore, Kansas City. The NFC is very, very middling.
Yeah.
That's why it's going to be a lot of fun in this wild card round. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think they're all even teams.
I'm excited.
Outside of Detroit, they're all even.
Even Detroit though, I know the Vikings just got smacked by them, but I do believe if they were to meet in the NFC Championship game, that would be a lot better of a game. Third meeting.
I think it's going to be hard with the crowd the way they're going to be. I mean,
Detroit's
if they
gonna
get
be
the
nuts.
championship game at home,
Yeah,
oh,
that'll be
man,
nuts.
I couldn't even imagine.
I would be really. We're probably going to see that. So we're probably going to see him at home in championship
I
weekend.
hope Eminem's there. That's all I
He
know.
better be there.
He better be.
Eminem
at
better
these
be there.
games, I'll tell you
They
right.
better do a whole thing. Like I want to see Barry there. I want to see Calvin Johnson there. I want to see all the alumni there who they screwed over their whole careers. Are we doing picks this week?
Well, we're not doing picks, but we got
gonna
to
say.
at least go over what we picked last week. So let me go. So going into last week, Bill was at 6-5, and you picked the Colts.
And they didn't cover.
So you're 6-6.
6-6.
You ended up at 500. Nobody under 500. That's
Flip a
good.
coin.
And you were 7-4, and you picked the Dolphins.
Oh, I picked Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't think they covered.
They didn't cover. Yeah, they just beat them.
Yeah, so they only beat them.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And I think I got this. I was in first anyways, 8-3. I picked the Bengals.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah, so I didn't know the spread.
No, you
But they
won
won
it. You won the pool.
So I'm on the pool, just so you know, the guy behind the camera.
Good job.
The guy behind the camera won. It was a fun year, guys. We'll do it again next year.
Let's just do our pick for tonight. Let's do Dame Penn State. Who do you got for tonight?
Notre Dame, Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
I hate both teams. I'm gonna go Penn State in a close game.
I'm gonna go Notre Dame. So we're
How about this? We're doing this on the fly. I don't know, so I'm not joining. Who are you picking for that game?
Notre Dame.
Okay. So let's do this. Why don't we keep it going for the playoffs? We'll pick the Monday night game. It'll be whatever the latest game is. So if it's a Sunday night,
Monday night's
so Monday night.
Rams Vikings.
Well, what's the spread?
No, let me get that up for
I
you.
don't know.
Let me
Give
get
you
that
guys
on
a
the
chance
fly.
to catch the leader.
Yeah, I don't know if that's. Let's see.
Oh, that ain't gonna happen for me.
Monday night. It's
Or why don't we
Vikings
just
are
pick-
-1.
Or why don't we just pick any game?
Okay.
Yeah, because then we're not all picking the same game.
Oh, I know.
Okay. I'll take Denver plus 8.5. You heard it.
I'm gonna take Denver plus 8.5 too. That's the easiest spread of the week for me.
You're both picking them. Okay.
Give me Chargers -3.
What?
I'll take Chargers -3.
Chargers,
Denver.
Denver, and what is the Baltimore Pittsburgh?
10.
10.
Ooh.
9.5.
No, 9.5.
Washington, Tampa.
3.
Three.
Bucks.
What?
3 from the
Tampa
Bucks.
Bay.
Take Tampa.
All right. There we go. We'll see.
All right, we got our. So yeah, we'll keep this going right through the playoffs.
Keep it going. Might as well.
All right. Guys.
All right.
Well, enjoy the games, everybody.
Good luck. Good luck, Uncle Phil. You got this first time. Oh, by the way, it's beautiful. Von Miller was your Super Bowl MVP last time during the playoffs. You play him your first time back.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I mean,
I hope.
Yeah, that'll
It'll be a lot of fun.
I think
tell Vaughn to stay away from the
Go
quarterback.
because of him we lose, but
Hey,
Let's go.
circle the wagons out there.
Let's go.
Go Broncos. Thank you for watching Trash Talk. And
I'm Reg.
He's Reg. I'm me. We'll see you next time.
Update.